hours just waiting to go to Missouri to wrestle, and it was interesting, man. Terry Bryant was there too from New Orleans. I don't know if you know who he is, but he was a good worker.
I had no idea those guys, Dean or Terry Bryant, had been around that long.
Yeah. What year was that? I don't know. It was sometime. Either I was in Mid-South or it was towards the end of the Mid-South.
Okay.
When we did that.
Favorites that you worked in Mid-South, like favorite guys, when you got to the show and you saw your name across from theirs on the card, who were you stoked about?
Well, that's kind of a trick question because it seemed like the most time I was there, I was getting my ass beat by Joe and Mark. Let me see. Who else did I work? I worked that dude, Rip Steele, Walt Lawley. We always had fun, but he was the type of guy who would give me 10 to 15 power moves that, you know, were finishers. He would like give me the rock bottom and then bam bam Bigelows and then somebody else. I was just like, crap, man, where do we go from here?
Going through the list.
So I mean, there was a lot of good workers in Mid-South, but I just unfortunately wasn't able to, you know, do much outside of our tag team. You know,
Sure.
We I mentioned Terry Bryant. He's a hell of a wrestler.
Right.
We wrestled him. They had something called the PWO, Pink World Order. You know, it was like this. I don't know. Prissy Paul had this. Yeah, he had the whole queer gimmick going, and you know, NWO was big at
Right.
the time. So
He was
they
in King Style too, wasn't he?
yeah. I actually went to school with Prissy Paul, which is weird. He was we used to call him Bam Bam because he was the hugest Freebird mark that I'd ever met, and I love the Freebirds too, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't believe it when I went. I was like, Paul? Yeah, you know, that's his name. But anyway, yeah. He wasn't a great worker, but man, he would do some crazy crap. He wasn't afraid of thumbtacks or barbed wire or nothing. Prissy Paul was the guy who, when he bladed, he'd use a carpet blade.
Oh.
Yeah, I want it nice and thick or whatever, you know. I was just like, you're insane, bro.
He wanted it. He was doing the gay gimmick, and he wanted it.
He wanted
nice.
boom, boom. Yeah.
God damn it, Sasso.
Maybe so. But yeah, he would carve himself up with a freaking carpet knife. Man. Unbelievable.
How long did Mid-South go for? Like time?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I know they were running for years before I got there because
from when the time you got there, and did it close down with you still being active?
Yeah, I had to take some time off there because I was wrestling a guy called Swivel Hips, Scott Sharp, and you remember the old Ricky Morton spot where he goes to do a hip toss and the dude blocks it, so he kicks him in the stomach, he bends over, he puts his leg over his head, cuts it flip, and then hip tosses him. Well, Swivel Hips wanted to do that, but he was about this tall and about 300 pounds. So we go for the hip toss. He blocks it, hits me in my stomach, I bend over, he puts his head, and I do that, and he's so heavy that my knee just crushes in that way. It just destroyed my knee, man, and right after that he shoots me in the ropes. You know, I'm sitting there crawling, trying to finish the match and everything, but Jesus Christ, man. To this day I still carry that scar, but yeah, I ended up having to take about 6 to 9 months off, and Mid-South was still going maybe a year, so after that, you know, but it was kind of going downhill by then. They were doing crap like wrestling and used car dealerships and just anywhere they could set up a ring.
So eventually, did they just lose? Did they lose interest as far as the fans? Did people stop showing up? Was it bad booking?
Well, they couldn't ever get the same TV slot. For when I first got there, they were there at we had a spot midnight on the local channel, which is okay because WWF had a show, or whatever they're called, had a show at 1, so we were almost like a lead-in to that. But then they switched us to like 11 a.m. Saturday mornings. So then Joe and whoever the powers that be were decided that, well, we better try more characters and more kid-friendly stuff or whatever. And then, of course, they switched it back to nighttime again. So it was hard, you know, when you can't find the show to really promote it, you know. And I doubt the station helped them much as far as promoting. But I know they actually expanded over to Alabama to wrestle some also. And then it just kind of, I think they spread themselves a little too thin, maybe.
What was the final show? And how did you find out that it was going to be the final show?
I wasn't there. I was out with my knee.
You were out
when they went out of business. Or
so we're going to take a break,
Okay.
I think end of Mid-South is a good point to stop.
All right.
When we come back from break, we will talk about life after Mid-South and birth of PWA.
Sweet.
All right, we'll be right back.
Cool.
And we're back with the Mr. Omega Sirus LaVey shoot part 2.
Yeah.
Took a break, got some stuff to drink, went pee. Everybody's good.
Damn right.
Right. When we left off about 30 minutes ago, I don't know if you remember. To the people watching, it was literally 10 seconds ago. We were talking about Mid-South.
Yep.
Mid-South had just closed down. You were nursing a knee injury.
Yes.
How long till you got back into the swing of things, and where did you go from Mid-South?
I took some time off, went to the doctor, and I had ligament damage and cartilage torn. They were supposed to scope it out and everything, but I've always been, you know, it was a last resort, so I just took time off and, you know, just dealt with the pain and whatever. And came back into it, started training under Rod Price over in Slidell. Actually, no, it was in New Orleans. At what's his name, DiBiase? Don DiBiase's gym there, and was training under Rod Price, and me and Mercury started working out, and we started working up a match, and I think the first match back was in Biloxi at the convention center of the Coliseum for some like big boys toy show, something like that, where they sold boats and crap like that. And anyway, me and Mercury worked that show, and let me see, that's where I met Bobby Doll, as a matter of fact.
Really?
Yeah, Bobby Doll, I guess, had been in touch with Amy, Miss Passion, and they were going to do some co-joint things in Mississippi and in Florida.
Miss Passion had WWA.
WWA.
And Bobby Doll was
PWA.
just starting PWA.
Yes, the beginning stages of that back in the sweat box that everybody
Right.
still talks about. But yeah, we worked up a match and had a real good match in Biloxi, and then the next night we went down to Florida and we started PWA at the same time, and then WWA ran about every month and a half or so, and at like a casino or someplace like that. And then PWA was, like I said, in a little sweat box, what was it, a garage, a car garage, or a mechanic's
Yeah,
shop?
I think it was an
or
old
something
garage
like
that they gutted and
Yeah.
used it as a school.
Yeah, and the
then,
dressing room was about this big.
Yeah.
Now it's a thrift shop, I think.
Thrift shop.
Nah, that's what it is now.
I went by and it was actually a church.
A
Like they were
church?
doing- yeah.
Oh
It
Lord.
said some, I don't remember.
In
what
the,
it was.
The only thing would be better if it was one of them churches where they handled snakes and drank poison in the garage.
A funny story about the PWA school. Remember the paintings of you?
Oh
Do you
yeah.
remember all the paintings?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they
I had everybody, or
There's
a bunch
still,
of people.
I'm sure they're gone now. It's a church, but it was up there. We went back a few years ago, and you could
Really?
still see you on the wall.
Oh, true.
That was Bonnie that did those paintings. She was very good.
Yeah.
Bonnie
Give her
Chad.
a shout
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Chad Habits.
Yeah.
Bonnie?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was cool. She used to slap the shit out of them too when they were cutting them promos. It was great
But we
stuff.
digress.
Oh yeah. What were we talking about?
What was
PWA?
your thoughts on